All right, we're sitting here at the Volusia International Bible Fellowship for the first of what is to become many of a concert series once a month. And the premiere concert was Lloyd Marcus, I Love America Revue, a one-man musical. And sitting with me is Mr. Lloyd Marcus. Thanks for the opportunity to talk to you.
My pleasure. Happy to be here.
I have followed you since late 2009, definitely early 2010. The first time I met you was February 25th of 2010 at an eat and greet at Perkins on University Avenue outside of the UCF campus in Orlando. You entered the facility at that time with the candidate Sandy Adams.
Yeah.
And
the Tea Party candidate at that particular time too, yeah.
Okay, and you have done something that I think people need to understand. A lot of people try to classify you as Tea Party. And what I saw here today is anything but quote-unquote Tea Party. What I saw here today is a man who tells a story of his life in a very candid, open, and emotional way, and about his faith in God and the fact that you truly believe that God needs to come back into the way we do things here in this country. Tell me a little bit about your one-man musical.
My one-man musical consists of songs that I have written over the years. I tend to write songs about the people who I admire. You know, songs like a song about my father, about a song to my wife, you know. But I want to spread the conservative message through my musical because I think that conservatism is best for everyone. And this has nothing to do with politics. It's all about what's good for people. And I feel like that if I simply tell my story in a compelling way and simply tell the truth, people will hear it and get it. You know, when you talk about conservative and liberal, those tend to be political terms that people just don't get. But when you tell about getting up every day and going to work and owning your own living as opposed to staying home in bed and expecting someone else to take care of you, and those are liberal and conservative ideologies there back to back. So I just tell my story and I hope that people get it.
I watched this audience here today. I watched grown men in the audience cry and tear up. I watched women and children do the same. I watched you, and I got some very candid photographs of you talking about your father and talking about your relationship with your wife and how your wife stood and, in your own words, basically became the man in the relationship for a while. And tell me something. You and Mary have been married for how long?
We have been married for over 30 years. I want to say 35, but I'm not sure. Don't tell her that. You know. But yes, I'm a very emotional guy. I think I got that emotion from my mom. My mom was a very emotional person as well. But I think that by telling the truth, you know, simply telling my story, it touches people. I spent 19 years as an alcoholic, and I had to go to an alcoholic rehab, and my wife. And during that time, when I was in the height of my alcoholism, Mary did have to become the man of the family because I could not open the door, I could not answer the phone, I couldn't take care of, I couldn't handle any stress or pressure at all. And but I got into a rehab and things turned around.
Telling your story as intimately and openly, and this was something I spoke with several people in the audience, and Mr. Sanchez as well as a Miss Sanchez, I believe it's his sister, and a young man who said he's 12 years old and who says he is just totally inspired by your story and by your openness. And one of the things I told Miss Sanchez is I think that what makes you appealing to people is that you are real. You tell your story and you present yourself, warts and all. I mean, if you stop and think about it, it's like,
I don't know any other way to be. I mean, yeah.
What do you think people can get out of listening to your story and watching? And I want people to understand this concert is highlighted with pictures of your father, of your mother, of your wedding, and you and your wife, Mary. I love...
We're very, very young.
Yes. I absolutely love the photograph of the young baby in the palm of hands that you're singing about. I believe it's to Mom, thanking her for birthing me.
Yes, that was a song called Hello Mom. A friend of mine got pregnant when she was 15, and rather than having an abortion like everyone told her to do, she decided to have the baby and put the baby up for adoption. Well, 43 years later, she got a phone call from her son, and he thanked her for birthing him, and it just so inspired me. I wrote this song called Hello Mom, because 3,000 babies are aborted in America every single day. You know, and rather than beating up people about abortion and all that, I thought it was just better just to write this nice song about this guy who thanks his mom for birthing him, you know, rather than hammering people about abortion.
Joe Sanchez, I believe he's the author of True Blue, is a member of this church. And he was the one that pointed out to me that your message, this message, and the story that you tell crushes any barriers between political parties, ideology, that this is about life, this is about American values, this is about one's faith in God.
Absolutely, and this is what I want to sell. This is what I want to sell. Character and doing the right thing. We've gotten so far from that nowadays in America. I don't know if you heard about this show called All My Baby's Mamas, and it's about a rapper who fathered 11 babies by 10 different women, and he was going to have his own television show and be even a bigger star. Well, that's not right. That's not right. That's not what we need to be celebrating in America, because it has been statistically proving that out of wedlock births leads to all sorts of things, gangs and crime and poverty. You know, so that's not something to celebrate.
Right. Hang on one second. Okay, I had to check. We have some problems with the camera. The thermometer that's built into it automatically shuts it off, so I need to make sure it's still running. When you say you want to sell character, allow me to kind of superimpose another word over it. You can present character across the country, and I think it goes back to what Mr. Sanchez was saying, and he was talking about how long he's known you and the fact that he does find you a man of character, a man who is sincere, a man who is honest, and a man who truly believes in what he's talking about. Character is something that I think we've gotten away from in all aspects of life in this country, whether it comes to the entertainment, whether it comes to the raising of our kids, whether it comes to the educational system, even the political system. It seems that character doesn't matter anymore. And what I asked him was, with everything being based around video games and the most popular movies or the 140 character tweets that you can get out there and get into a person's head, how do we get back to people looking and promoting character and sincerity and honesty in what we do in life?
Boldly touting it, which is what I did today. A lot of people are afraid to speak out against all my babies' mamas, because we have been conditioned to be politically correct, and so people are saying, well, that's a black urban thing and you really don't understand that, and so we can't really speak out against it. And I says, no, that's a ghetto thing. And we need to speak out against that. And I think that that's what is lacking, and we become so politically correct that people are afraid to simply tell the truth. I mean, and most of us know what's right, because it resonates inside of us. So we know what's right and what's wrong, but we're afraid to say it because we've been politically correct and politically conditioned.
I'm sure you've experienced this in the past, especially over the last few years, maybe not to your face, maybe behind your back. You know how people say, well, how can someone who's engaged in certain behaviors or certain activities in their life, how dare they stand up and talk about character? But doesn't that actually build one's character when they can stand up and talk about it?
Amen. And I have done it all. I was an alcoholic. I did drugs. I don't want to get too graphic here, but like I have lived my life. But then you learn things like, yes, I was an alcoholic, but I recovered, and I learned that life is so much better not being an alcoholic. The only person who was perfect was Jesus Christ, and they crucified him. Yes, just because you are not perfect, it does not stop you from speaking out about what's right and what's wrong.
Go from here, and how can people get in touch with you in hosting it, bringing it to their church, or bringing it to their school, or bringing it to their community amphitheater if they want to?
I would love to see it go around the country, and just basically inspire people around the country. I can be contacted at lloydmarcus.com. Lloydmarcus.com, that's my website. And they can find me on Facebook and Twitter as well. So yeah.
All right, and I do know we're going to put up links at sinclairnews.net to your website as well as your music. We'll add it to all of the others that we've come across in the past couple of years. Lloyd, as a man, what would you like to see happen in this country moving forward? Can we get away from the partisanship? Can we get away from the labels and of the political ideology and get back to looking out for one another and doing what we need to do to be successful as a country?
I would love to see us do that, but I don't think it's going to happen as long as one group of people are destined on crushing the other group of people. After the election, all of the people on the Republican side said, well, maybe we've been too hardcore in our beliefs, and so maybe we need to lighten up. And I'm going, hold it. So we need to say, okay, so we approve people coming to America illegally, and we approve babies being killed, and we approve the bulk of the country being on the government dole. No, we need to educate people. We don't need to lighten our values. We need to educate people about why our values are good. I have a little thing I called Conservatism 101 because as a matter of fact, I have a perfect example. My brother David is a fantastic guy. He's a football coach. He's been a football coach for several years. He's non-political, but he has noticed the change in the culture of the country in that the kids are no longer have respect for authority or anything. He doesn't know that's related to the liberal move of the country, and so I need to educate him. So I give a little example of Conservatism 101. Conservatism 101 is little Johnny says, Dad, I don't want to go to school today because the kids are mean. And his liberal father says, Johnny, I feel your pain. You're right. Going to school is hard. stay home. Conservative dad says, Johnny, I know you're having a tough time, but you get your butt out of that bed and you go to school. And I'll do everything I can to help you and protect you, but you gotta have an education because that's the only way that you will be happy in life. That's conservatism versus liberalism. Liberalism is taking the easy way out. No, you don't have to learn English, and when you don't learn English, you stay in poverty your whole life. But right down here in Tampa, Hispanic parents are saying, no, we want our kids to learn English because that's the only way that they will move economically forward. So what do liberals do? Liberals say you're a racist for trying to make those kids learn English. No, you're being loving, you're being responsible. That's the difference. And most people don't know this. So to a certain extent, we do need those labels of liberal versus conservative just so that people can understand the difference of the two approaches. But to me, it boils down to right versus wrong.
You know, I definitely think that one thing I see this I Love America Revue-A one-man musical doing is it's definitely a vehicle where you can bring people from opposing viewpoints together in the same room and experience the same understanding and the emotions from the stories of life and get them talking. And I think that is something that you should be very proud of.
I say,
yes.
One other thing, you're absolutely right. A perfect example of that, I was up in Michigan at a Tea Party rally, and these liberals came to protest the rally. And when I told the story about my dad, at the end of the rally, those people were applauding. The protesters were, they were applauding along with everybody else because it wasn't about Republican or Democrat or anything. It was about right versus wrong.
All right, we're back talking with Lloyd, and I was telling Lloyd the one thing I see, and we were talking about, was what Mr. Sanchez said. Listening to your story, listening to this review, you bring people together regardless of political ideology. Mr. Sanchez made it clear that he is a lifelong registered Democrat, but that when it comes to what's right and wrong, and listening to you and knowing you, that he wholeheartedly supports that we do need to bring God back into the schools and back into our life. And I see you using this as a tool to where you are going to be able to do far more with this than I think you've ever done with the Tea Party, because this appeals to every man, woman, and child in this country, regardless of political ideology, because everybody experiences difficult times. Everybody these days at least knows someone who has fought and battled with addiction of one type or another. And I would like to see you do even more with that.
I would too. Like, I would love to do these concerts around the country, yeah, and possibly even stage one in a theater or something so that it could be shot on video and then millions can see it.
I have a suggestion. I'm not sure if the deadline's over with yet, but this is a show that might serve well in, and I'll tell you this off camera. I don't want to actually say it on camera because it might also turn some people off as far as who's producing the contest. But there's so many ways that you can do this, and I agree with you. I was telling Harry the same thing. You need to do this at an event where we have professional cameras and lighting and videotape this, because this is definitely something that people could appreciate. Where from here, Mr. Marcus?
Everywhere. I am the chairman of the Conservative Campaign Committee. I'm going to Reno, Nevada. Next week, I'm going to Texas. There's a new internet television station going to be online, so I'll be having a show on that. I'm working now. This has nothing to do with politics, but I am working on a smooth jazz album. My mother loved all of those old songs as time goes by and all that, and so I'm doing an album of old standards in a jazz style, and it's coming along great. So this will give my fans some music to listen to. That's really outside of my political box. And these songs here, like in this show, aren't political songs. They're just songs about my life and people that I respect and love.
I will tell you, I enjoyed the music. I watched your music bring tears to people's eyes. I think that you have shown in this particular event that you are a sincere individual. And like I said, you have no problem talking about your faith in God. You have no problem talking about your life, warts and all. And I think that builds one's credibility far more than money and political stature or status.
Brother. Amen. And I want my life to count. And my life counts when I am being a blessing to people. I know that sounds corny and hokey, but I want to be a blessing. I wanted the people that came today to go home with something and maybe inspire them to pursue their dreams or whatever, But that's what I want.
I don't think that sounds corny or hokey at all. And like I said, there's a 12-year-old young man that was in the audience tonight that told us on camera that he is truly inspired by you and by your story. So I think your life, I think your life has mattered, and I think it does count, and I think it's going to matter and count even more so in the future. Thanks, Mr. Marcus.
Thank you much.